Hello and welcome to Unmastered. I'm Emma.
And I am Gohar.
And we are uncut and on the record with your favorite bands.
Cool. So today, we're gonna talk about ourselves. So might as well let's just jump into it. I've always wanted to say that. I hear every YouTuber saying it and mimicking it, and I've always wanted to do that. Wow.
Now that you say it, I do think I've heard a lot of YouTubers say, let's jump in. Let's get started.
Let's just jump into it.
I think starting something is honestly so intimidating and awkward because you're like, what do I do? How do I transition into this and make it sound natural when literally every time it's so unnatural? Like, you know what you want to talk about, but like getting to that conversation is so
I think that's
weird.
why jumping into it is such a great way to it's such a great way to literally jump into it.
Literally jump in. We're gonna start doing jumping jacks right now to drive home the literal jumping.
I have so much adrenaline right now.
I'm not gonna do jumping jacks. I have had little to no sleep, so we're just gonna pretend we did. So we want to give you guys a little introduction to ourselves, so we're gonna start with a little icebreaker. Our names, our favorite ice cream, and what song is currently stuck in our head. As you know, I'm Emma. My favorite ice cream, I am a huge fan of Thrifty's ice cream inside of Rite Aids. And my favorite would have to be chocolate malted crunch. It's basically chocolate ice cream with these chocolate, they're not chips, but they're the flat chocolate.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I don't know what they're called,
flakes?
Chocolate flakes. We'll call them chocolate flakes. And then these little malt balls, and they're really tiny, but they're just all together, it's delicious and perfect. And ice cream,
it's great.
It's so good. Ice cream is without a doubt my favorite dessert. Next would be cookies. But definitely love the ice cream. And what song is currently stuck in my head? Right now, I'm listening to a song called Victoria Falls by a group called Flight. Flyte, for clarification on that one. It's just a really great song. I've had it stuck in my head actually for a long time. And it's just got a lot of cool vibes. I love listening to it in my car, windows down, volume up. Just makes me very happy about myself and my day. All right, take it away.
Oh my god, it's my turn. My name is Gohar. My favorite ice cream, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I have very sensitive teeth. And ice
so
cream...
the cold?
Yeah, even though it tastes so good, I kind of don't like to have ice cream as often as other people do. But when I do, there's nothing better than vanilla ice cream. Especially vanilla ice cream that's made from real vanilla, you scrape the vanilla bean.
I was gonna ask, are you a French vanilla or vanilla bean kind of person?
It's the vanilla bean. The French vanilla ice cream is made differently than traditional ice cream.
Wow, you know your vanillas.
I have a ice cream maker. I dabbled in a little bit of ice cream making back in the day. I'm not even kidding. I've made so many different kinds of vanilla ice cream. I've fixed with the ratios of milk versus cream and how much egg yolk I should put into it, what type of vanilla I should use, and that's why I'm really into vanilla ice cream, I think.
I don't have enough patience to do that, so that is amazing.
Oh, thanks.
You should make me ice cream one day and I can judge how well you've mastered it.
Sure thing. I think, but what I'm really getting into these days is the different types of food. So I was really into pizza not too long ago, and now I'm into hamburgers, specifically smash burgers. So I'm trying to find the perfect ratio of the type of beef I should be using, how I should be grinding it, and then I'm going to smash it down with a spatula. It's going to be good. One day I'll have a food party and you guys will have some food.
This sounds good.
Yeah.
I can
And as far as the songs that stuck in my head, I have Do You Think About Us by The Night Game. For those of you who don't know The Night Game, he is Martin Johnson, lead singer of Boys Like Girls, and without a doubt my favorite person on this earth right now. He's doing really something special with this new album of his, self-titled The Night Game. It's freaking fantastic. Every single song, I've seen him live a couple times. Every single song is just so magical to me. I think that's why I love the song right now.
That's awesome. I think it's, at least we like the songs that are currently stuck in your head. Have you ever had that when you don't like a song, but it's like in your head and you can't get it out?
You know what? I think maybe once or twice, but it's not like it was, I hate that song and I can't believe it's stuck in my head type of feeling. It's like, this song is stuck in my head, but I don't even have it saved in my Spotify. Why do I know the melody and the lyrics so well, you know?
Yeah.
Like, other people, like my sister all the time, for some reason, hates every single song that I play for her. And every time she comes out of her room, comes rushing into mine, and she's like, oh my gosh, I have this song stuck in my head, and now I have to, like, figure out what it is, because she's really bad at remembering what the melody is or what the lyrics are. And but no, I don't think I've ever had something that I've hated stuck in my head.
Okay, understandable. I think I've had that a couple times, just because my sister listens to a lot of different music than I do, and sometimes she'll play stuff over and over, and then I'll hear it and it's stuck in my head. But yeah, what's interesting about how you said your sister doesn't know, like, melodies and stuff and has trouble, I've always been known, especially when I was in high school, I was known as, like, the music goddess, because I knew all these songs and I, like, knew all this new music. And I vividly remember someone sending me a Snapchat at, like, 2 a.m, basically saying, do you know what song this is? And she was just like, ba ba da 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 da. Like, I can't even get the melody right now because I'm so tired, but it was Cake by the Ocean by DNCE, and I knew it based off of her off-tune, like, melody.
Exactly.
And it was hilarious, and she was like, wow, I knew you would know it, and I was very impressed with myself for knowing it.
I do that every other day with my sister. She was trying to figure out what song was stuck in her head the other day, and she's like, oh, I don't know the melody, but I know it started with a person's name, and it started right off the bat, and it was an alternative rock song. And I'm, like, thinking over and over again, I'm like, what is, maybe it's Dear Maria, Count Me In. And she's like, no, the name was the first thing that he said. And I'm like, oh. And then it just clicked to me, because obviously I play Martin Johnson's music all the time. Of course it was a Boys Like Girls song.
There you go.
And so I played it for her, and she's like, oh my gosh, yes. And we were trying to figure it out for at least an hour at that point, because she was giving me nothing, like, no melody, no lyrics. She's like, it's in my head, so figure it out.
Oh, she's like, yes, I can read your mind. So I guess for us, we both kind of got involved in music individually. Music has been a big part of our life, for at least mine, for a very long time. It's
been a part of my life since I can remember.
Okay, there we go.
Like, ever since I've been having memories, it's been a part of it. Yeah.
I think same with me, actually. My first concert that I credit to being my first concert, my mom was pregnant with me at Ozfest. So
that doesn't count.
I'm gonna count that as my first concert. I was there physically, counting it.
All right.
But no, my mom's always played music for me ever since I was a kid. I would always fall asleep listening to, like, classical music. There's, like, a very specific CD I had that I couldn't fall asleep without for the longest time when I was growing up. And then when I got older, my mom was constantly, like, playing alternative music throughout our house at high volumes. We're a very loud household, so my mom would just have the music playing, and I very remember, like, Matchbox 20 would be on all the time. And oh my gosh, there's a song, it's called Silver Lining. I can't remember who it's by. I always want to say Feast, but it's not. But that song I think that song helped me fall in love with, like, alternative music. I want to credit her. So wait a second, we gotta edit out this pause, because I'm determined to tell everyone what this is. So the song was called Silver Lining. It was by a singer named Rilo Kelly, and it was definitely a song, I think, that helped me fall in love with alternative music at a young age, like, very young. And so I'm very thankful that my mom was constantly playing music in my house because I grew up around it everywhere. My mom would start playing like Counting Crows and like Dave Matthews Band, and I'm not the biggest Dave Matthews Band fan, but that's okay. But yeah, I basically grew up with it. If you don't want to count Ozfest as my first concert would be Vanessa Hudgens. I went to like a free outdoor thing, and dude, it was so fun. I was so like excited to go, and it was great. And then I think I was like 11 or 12 at the time, and I've been going to concerts ever since. So the past like 9-10 years I've been going to concerts just constantly because I love them so much. And so music is very much ingrained in nearly every aspect of my life. So I mean, I love it. I definitely love live shows a ton. I think they're very, very special, and the energy that is brought in live shows between the artist and the audience, it just kind of lets you let loose for a bit and just really be in the moment and experience music in a very different way. So I'm a huge fan. That's kind of where I ended up with it in my life, and I hope it continuously becomes an ever-consuming part of my life, because that's how it is these days. Yeah. So much going on.
All right, my turn?
Yes.
Here we go.
All right.
I'm
buckled in.
Okay. I have an interesting relationship with music because there's like so many different parts of music. All right. I started when I was 5 years old, and I started taking piano lessons up until like the 7th grade. So I was like maybe 12, 13 years old when I stopped going to piano lessons. I feel like I haven't learned everything. But while I was doing that, I also was in like a choir, and it was just meh for me. It was not my favorite pastime, which when I tell this to people, they're like, I don't understand, you didn't like music when you were younger. I'm like, oh, it was such a chore. Like, my parents forced me. I was the kind of kid that was like, my piano teacher would say, if you don't practice, then don't even think about coming to your next lesson. And so when I didn't practice, like, I would be like, oh no, like, I can't go. She told me if I didn't, I shouldn't come to my next lesson. But all in all, like, I didn't finish piano school or whatever they call it these days. I did learn music theory, which is awesome, and I was in the choir for a bit, which is awesome. But when I started high school, I had the option to choose, like, an elective, and there were all these different things, and band was one of them. And I'm like, hey, I know a little bit about this, which means I can be lazy while taking the class.
Oh my god.
That was my motive. And so I took beginning band. And when I got there, they're like, hey, what do you want to play? And I'm thinking to myself, there's always two things that I've always wanted to play. It was either guitar or drums. And
oh my gosh.
And they didn't offer guitar, so I was like, drums it is.
You know, my biggest regret from high school was not joining band, because I thought you had to, like, already know how to play an instrument to join band.
A lot of the people that were there didn't know, and then the people who went straight into advanced band had already been playing things since elementary. But I went into my freshman year knowing things, but learning a new instrument.
See, I wish I would have known that, because I always wish I would have learned how to play the quads for, like, drumline. You know the 4 drums you put on.
I played those a little bit.
I wish I would have learned how to play those, because I think they're so freaking cool.
They are cool, and there's a lot of different techniques on how to play the different drums too. When I went into beginning band, I took the drums as my instrument. Funnily enough, even though it was a beginning band class, it wasn't only freshmen in there, and there were 4 people who were in the percussion section, and I was the only freshman in the percussion section, and the other 3 of them, they were juniors and seniors, which I thought was really funny, because, like, no one else wanted to play percussion. Anyway.
Why? I mean, percussion is, like, the coolest.
And
like,
that's what I thought. I'm like, first of all, I was the only girl, which
girl power.
Didn't occur to me until halfway through the semester. I'm like, wait a second, I'm the only girl? Also, halfway through the semester, they needed somebody to play the glockenspiel, the bells.
Oh my gosh,
and
love
so
the glockenspiel.
they were trying to figure out, oh my god, who knows who they were trying to figure out, because the flute section, their score, their music sheet is the same as it would be on the piano. So they were trying to get a flute player to play the piano and how to learn it. I'm like, and I was listening to it, and from the back of my head, I'm like, I should probably tell them I know how to play piano. And then I finally went up, and they're like, I know how to read piano music. I can play the bells if you need me to. And so that's where I was the rest of the semester. And I was in the drum line the rest of the years, and then my junior, senior year, I was section leader. I was center snare, and so it was really fun. And we didn't do competitions until my senior year, so I didn't really get the full experience of marching band and drumline on how other high schools do it, but I got a little taste of it, and it was fun for the most part. When I went into college, I wanted to continue doing it. I went to CSUN, Cal State Northridge, and they don't have a marching band. Mostly because they don't have a football team anymore. So they're like, we don't need this section. So they did, however, have a pep band, which was a student-led organization, part of the, athletics department. And so when I went in, I got really excited because, like, I had all this energy from high school. I knew how to play things. I still had a lot of the techniques still embedded into my muscle memory, and so I wanted to go straight into it. When I went in the first year, there was nobody in the drum line, and so I had to, like, carry it myself, and I went from being on the snare with all these intricate hand techniques and all these stuff, and I went to the bass drum, and I had to do very simple beats. I was pretty much just playing quarter notes the entire time just to keep the beat, because they needed someone to keep the beat. And then I said, this has got to change. And so I ran for president of the pep band. And
nice.
My second year, and I got it.
Congrats.
Thanks. And then I pretty much did that for the majority of my college career, except for my last year, because I needed to focus on my studies. And then after I stopped doing that, I kind of fell out of music again. Until after I graduated, and then I went to one or two shows of my favorite people, just because, like, they were having a concert, and I was like, I'm so into the music right now, I have to see. I think, oh my god, it was the 1975.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorite bands on this planet.
Last year, around the time where I was going to graduate, college. The 1975 played at the Greek Theater, and I was so excited.
Which night did you go?
I don't know. I think it was the first. There were two nights. Was it the first night? I probably went to the first night.
I was there the first
No
night.
way!
We'll get into this later, but this is actually quite hilarious. Continue, though.
So I went. I wanted to go so bad, and my parents are the type of people that don't let me do things unless someone else goes with me. And my immediate friends are not as into the 1975 as I am, and so they were not willing to pay as much to see them as I was. So I convinced my sister to go, and my sister wasn't a definite yes yet, so my dad was like, yeah, fine, I'll go with you too. Eventually, I bought 3 tickets, so me, my sister, and my dad went. And it was the most magical experience for me. I freaking love it. The music, the visuals, the instrumental transition tracks, their stage presence. That was actually the first time I saw coloring too. And Oh wait, Pale Waves was opening too, huh?
Yeah, Pale Waves and Coloring both opened for the 1975.
So great. And from that point on, I was like, I need to see live music again. So that's why I say music it's kind of different throughout my entire life. I didn't just go to concerts and fall in love with music that way. Like, I started playing it and hating it, and then I started playing it and loving it, and then I did a little bit of administrative work for bands, for my college band, I mean, and then I went for just an experience, and that's what really brought me to the whole studio version versus live music versus hanging out with people, talking about music, listening to it, discovering new people. I've had my Spotify account for almost 10 years now, and so a lot of the things have been accumulating.
Wait.
Yeah. I had my
Spotify has actually been around for 10 years?
I've had my Spotify account since my sophomore year of high school, and I'm 24 now. I think I was in high school when I was my 16 or 17. Can you calculate that for me?
I'm very curious about this. I'm literally looking this up.
I think, hold on, I gotta think of, what is it, 24 minus 16? I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh my god, Spotify was created in 2006.
It's been 8 years I've had Spotify.
I did not realize Spotify was created in 2006. Wow. So you've
impressed?
I'm very impressed. And you've got quite a couple years leap on me with that one. But I definitely love Spotify. I am a huge Spotify user. I've
been telling people to use Spotify for so long. I wanted my family to use Spotify so badly that, like, 4 years ago when Spotify family accounts were created, I went ahead and paid the extra $5 a month just so that my brother can listen to all the music that he wants and my sister can listen to all the music that she wants. My dad and my mom, if they think of something and they can't really find it on YouTube or something, it's at the tip of their finger, it's in their hands. And I think it's really important for it to be easily accessible, so I wanted everyone in my family to have that.
Yeah. And
I don't mind paying.
That's funny, because when my friends and I do, we get 7 of us. That's the maximum number you can have on Spotify Family, I believe. Maybe actually 6. It's more. No, are we sure? Maybe it's 6 or 7.
It's yourself and then 5 other people.
Okay, so whatever the maximum is, we got a group of friends together back in high school, and we were all like, hey, let's create a family account for ourselves because it's cheaper than buying a student account.
Mm-hmm.
And we all just paid $2-3 a month, and it's so worth it for me because I am in the car a lot and I'm driving a lot, or I'm riding the metro, so definitely having music playing, music that I want to listen to and can control right in my hands, is very important for me. So shout out to Spotify.
Yeah, please sponsor us.
We love you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for providing us with good music. Your algorithms are very confusing, but thank you, and continue sharing little bands with the rest of us on those release radars, because that is what I love.
You only get things in release radars after you follow someone on Spotify.
I think that should be changed, because has it always been like that?
Oh, yeah, it has been. You get little bands on your Discover Weekly.
Discover Weekly, that's what it is.
And Release Radar is Spotify sees who you're following, which artist profiles you're following, and whatever something new pops up, they put it on that playlist.
That's right. I got them confused. But definitely Discover Weekly. I love it when they'll give me little bands. Independent artists are my favorite. Shout out to all the independent artists out there doing the damn thing, working their butts off.
They did that,
they did do that. But I love little bands. I think there's a lot of little bands who have a lot of amazing talent, and
they're
deserve
just
so much more credit than what they're
really,
given.
They're really passionate. When you see someone that's really passionate about what they're doing, and they're so into their own thing, and you see that in their face, that is what I'm like, yes, I support you so much. Like, keep doing it. I love it. I want you to be so happy. Let's
just start naming some of our favorite small little bands, just so we can give them all some shout outs. So let's just go.
Wait, how small is small?
I mean, okay, we're not gonna talk in terms of size, but just like underappreciated bands, I think, that deserve more credit, and that maybe not, a huge amount of the world knows.
Okay.
I'll start. Shout out to my Moon Tower boys. I love you deeply. They make great freaking music. I'm also gonna give a shout out to Night Riots. They're getting there. They're on their way. They're making it up there. A band called Rose are so awesome. They're a group of 3 guys who are very, very talented, and I love their music. They are freaking great. Wenz. I love Wenz. She's super cool. She's really great live. When you see her live, it like forces you to be in the moment in the best way possible, and it's very refreshing. Like, something about her live performances are just so great. Who else are we gonna name? Your Favorite Color is a band that I saw the other day. Super random. They're really great live. I'm not sure how old these kids are, but they just bring a crap ton of energy, and I love it. I think that's my list for now. I'm sure I'm missing a ton who I love, but
I'm like looking through my Spotify right now, trying to figure out who I'm gonna shout out right now.
Who are we gonna send the plug to? I'm also gonna plug Disco Shrine. I love Disco Shrine. I recently discovered Disco Shrine about, I want to say like a month ago, and she makes my heart happy. She really does.
Cool. I'm gonna first start by shouting out my very close friends at Aurora Vice, because they're working really hard, and for people who have been doing this, I don't want to say for a long time, but for a few years now, and their music is evolving. Shouts out to them for still having like full day jobs, 9 to 5s, and still doing what they're doing. So Aurora Vice, freaking love them. And I want to go straight into Lost Boy Crow.
Oh my gosh, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I missed it. Thank you.
Lost Boy Crow, which is gonna kind of segue me into Dyson. Shouts out to Dyson. He's doing great stuff. Unfortunately, I don't know anything else that he's doing right now, and he's such a mystery to me. I don't know. Maybe that's why I like him. He's such a mystery. I don't know. Shouts out to A-OK, one of my favorite artists / producers. He's doing such great things. Everything that he does is such a freaking bop. I love it. Also, shout out to Imad Royale. I don't know if I'm saying that right. If I have been saying it wrong this whole time, I'm so sorry. He's been producing every single favorite song of mine. He's going from Panic at the Disco to Carter Reeves, a little bit of Hoodie Allen here and there. He's doing great things. I also love Jeremy Zucker. His voice is captivating to me. Shouts out to The Wildlife.
Shout them out. They dropped a new album.
They just dropped a new album. I freaking love it. The Wildlife, they're giving me life right now. The band Camino is doing really great things. Really, really great things.
I just remembered 2 other people. We're just shouting out our favorite artists at this point, because I think it's important that everyone knows these great bands. Gonna give a shout out to a band called Honey, but they spell it Hunny.
I think I've seen that. Yeah.
They're freaking talented. Also a band called Finish Ticket. They're from the Bay Area. They're fantastic. They have been on like a little bit of a not hiatus, but they've been away from performing for quite some time. because they were working on new music. So they just had their first performance in like, I think almost like 600 days or something like that. They took some crazy break and now they're back, and I can't wait for them to be back in the limelight so I can go see them.
Also, real quick shout out to Light, spelled Leyet. She is freaking fantastic. Very great live. If you're in the LA area, go ahead and find a concert of hers because she's great. Eden is really good. Cemetery Sun is really good. Matt Mason is really good. Oh my gosh.
There's so many. I think
Carter.
we
should make a playlist.
You know what? We're gonna make a playlist. That would make everything so much easier because this list goes on and on.
I think the rest of this episode would have been, by the way,
this band. That's a good idea. We're gonna definitely make a playlist. We'll have it up so you guys can see all of our favorite bands and our favorite songs by these bands and these musicians. That way you don't just hear us listing off bands for the next 20 minutes.
I mean, we could do that, but
we could 100% do that.
We're already, I think, 30 minutes into this, and
we planned on doing this for like 15 minutes because we're like, we're not going to have a lot to say, and then you put a mic in front of us and we just start talking. So let's bring it back a little bit to...
on topic.
Yeah. About how we kind of met, how this podcast started, and what our future holds. So, in terms of how we met,
I think I want to start this one.
You want to start this one? Okay, go ahead.
Well, as you know, I went to this 1975 concert.
So did I, apparently.
This little known band, Coloring, was opening, and I thought they were freaking fantastic.
They really are.
They played the song "Think About You," I think it's called. I fell in love with that, and so I've always wanted them. I've always wanted to see them live again. Throughout the year, I also went and saw the Night Game, which I'm shouting out the Night Game again. My favorite person.
That's like your third time.
I went to see him live, and opening act was a band called Nightly, and they did such great things. I don't know why, but when I go to concerts where I'm there for the headliner, I'm like, I don't pay attention to the opening act very much, which recently I've changed.
So rude.
I've changed.
So rude.
I have
progress.
Yeah,
your growth.
Exactly.
I appreciate the growth.
Character development.
Okay, I'll take it.
And so Nightly opened, and they were fantastic. And me being the person that I am, was very, very active with them on social media. And they announced that they were doing a show in LA, and I looked at it, and I'm like, wait a second, I recognize the headliner. It was Coloring, and I'm like, this is going to be the concert of a lifetime. It was the first time that I got tickets to a venue called the Moroccan Lounge.
I love the Moroccan Lounge. That is my second favorite venue in all of LA, second only to the iconic Troubadour. Mm-hmm. Continue.
All right. I just needed someone to go with because it was my first time at this venue, and I'm like, someone who would appreciate music and not want to leave the second I got there would be great. So I asked one of my friends, Mary, to come with me. Shout out to our intern, Mary.
We love Mary. We wish you were here, Mary.
Yeah, maybe we should have done an interview with her too.
You know what? We're going to do an interview with Mary later on so you guys can meet Mary.
Oh, she has great stories.
She definitely does.
Mm-hmm.
But shout out to Mary.
So we got there, and I'm looking on the Nightly and Coloring socials, and on their Instagram story, they said Nightly is going on at 9 and Coloring is going on at 10, and we get there at 8, on time. And we're there, and we're waiting, and then we see someone else set up, and she's pointing at the lead, and I'm like, that's not the guy from Nightly, because I recognize from his hair is super curly, and he's a beautiful human being. Shout out to John from Coloring. I'm sorry, shout out to John from Nightly.
Wow, nice.
I'm mixing it up now. I didn't know who it was, and they started playing, and they just kept repeating that their name was Moon Tower. Am I pronouncing that right?
Moon Tower. One word.
Moon Tower.
Moon Tower.
And they really rocked it. They played a few songs. William really got to me. Marathon got to me. And you all know that Divine really got to me. It was fantastic. And then I met the guys afterwards. They were so sweet. They were very excited to meet me, which I don't understand why, because I was just a person that they were singing to amongst other people. And then we just started going back and forth with our witty comments on social media here and there. I went to more of their shows, and lo and behold, someone else was there.
I was that someone else. It was me. So I ended up going to the show as well, and I'd been anticipating the show for quite some time. I purposely knew I was skipping a class to go to this show. It was very worth it. I knew it was happening, so I was prepared. Don't worry, Mom and Dad. I had everything figured out. But no, I was really excited. I was going with a good friend of mine from high school. I got to take the metro there, and I love taking the metro. And I got there early, and I was meeting up with some friends, and I was just super, super excited. I knew Coloring was playing. I knew there was some other band before Coloring that was going to go on, and I didn't really know who or whatever. So I was just there having fun, ready to have a really good time. So there's this band that we were talking about, Moon Tower, who was there. And I think I had just had so much anticipation for this night that my adrenaline spiked, and Moon Tower goes on. 15 seconds in, my friends and I are just looking at each other like, oh my god, this is amazing. Holy crap, like, they have this light situation going on. They have these really good vocals. There's, like, all of this going on that I was not expecting, and I'm, like, third row. And granted, I'm tall already, and I was wearing these,
by
like...
the way, I was standing right behind
apparently,
you.
Gohar was right behind me. We didn't know each other at this point yet.
I was standing right behind you, and I'm like, who is this girl? Very big hair.
I have very, very big curly hair.
Tall shoes. I should be in front of her.
It's okay. So I'm realizing that I'm very tall, and everyone around me is not as tall as me. So I took off my shoes. So I'm standing there.
Good call, by the way.
Thank you. I'm very happy I did that, because this changed the course of my summer. I took off my shoes, and, like, I wasn't gonna leave them on the floor, so I was kind of, like, dancing with my shoes in my hand. And lead singer of Moon Tower points at me mid-show and is just like, you're great, like, hi, what's going on, you know? And it was just this really random interaction mid-show.
In the mid-show, and...
like, middle of the concert,
just
this was happening.
Conversation.
And so I met them afterward, great guys, and kind of stayed in touch with them here and there. So flash forward to July, they're having a show. I'm kind of helping them out with that, doing photo for them, and then photo turns into me helping them at a show they have the next day, which turned into me helping them with this pop-up event that they had in LA. And so I'm there, we're juicing oranges for their little event that they have. It's very on brand for them, and Gohar walks in with one of her friends while I'm covered in...
Not just one of my friends.
Mary.
It was
Mary. So Gohar walks in and, like, sits down and starts talking to the guys.
Wait,
like,
you forgot the most important
part. What is the most... I was covered in orange juice, dude. I don't know what was going on.
I brought champagne. We had mimosas.
Oh my gosh, she brought champagne and we had mimosas with the freshly squeezed orange juice we had made.
It was fantastic.
It was very nice. And, yeah, I just kind of was able to sit down and take a break. I'd been juicing oranges for a couple of hours now.
Yeah, orange stained shirt.
I literally, my shirt, oh my gosh, that's right. My shirt was white, and by the end of the day, it was just covered in orange stains. And I borrowed the shirt from my mom, and I'm really sorry I ruined your shirt, Mom. But, yeah, it was a mess. So... Gohar follows me on Twitter, but while we're sitting there, so does Mary, and while we're sitting there talking, we've realized that me, Mary, and Gohar have been going to the same concerts for, like, the last at least 4 years, and not realized it. I don't know why we haven't bumped into each other sooner. because a lot of these shows were at small venues.
Yeah, very small venues.
Like, the Troubadour is very tiny, and, like, we've gone to multiple Troubadour shows. I think we went to Magic Man. Rest in peace, Magic Man. I hope you're okay. Mary went to Magic Man.
I think you went to the Spin the Globe Part 2 in the
Constellation Room. Yes, I went
to,
exactly, for Lost Boy Crow.
Yeah.
And, we were both at the 1975. We were both at all these shows, and for some reason have literally... Never met. Like, I've literally, like, it's not even, sometimes you go to shows and you recognize people and then you start having conversations about the similar shows you've been to, but literally I've never seen Gohar and Mary or met them until that pop-up event.
Yeah.
And so we followed each other on social media. That was that. So that's how we met. And then a couple of weeks ago...
By the way, I'm going to say this over and over again. I'm very active on social media. So
she is.
When you
very
post
much.
Something, I will be very interactive with you.
This is very true.
We will talk about it. We will forget about it. I'll bring it up again. It'll be a good time. Which brings us to, lo and behold, the thing we're all anticipating here. Emma had the best tweet of all time.
Thank you. So I kind of tweet into the void, just tweeting my inner thoughts, and
I'm your number one fan from the void.
Thank you, my number one fan from the void. I kind of tweeted how I used to interview bands back in high school, and I was kind of saying, like, I wish I could do that again. I wish I could start a music podcast, but I hate the sound of my voice. Still do, so if you guys hate it, I'm sorry. I'm not a big fan of it, but here I am doing the damn thing anyway. And basically, within, I think, like, a minute, like, it was no more than 5 minutes. It was almost, like, instantaneous. Gohar sent me a message. Like, she sent my tweet back to me and was like, let's do it. And I was like, oh, I mean, okay. Like, I'd really only met Gohar the one time. And we were already making plans to, like, meet up and, like, figure this out. And I was like, is this really happening? Like, how's this gonna work, you know? And we met at T-Spots in Pasadena. We actually, huge shout out to T-Spots for being our office this past, like, month, pretty much.
Yeah.
We've been working there at least once a week. Because it's a great spot to work at. They have the free Wi-Fi.
The girl there knows me. She's like, wait.
She definitely knows us by now.
Yeah, she's like, a Gohar, right? How do you spell that again?
So, basically, Gohar and I were just kind of... Gohar just basically was like, hey, let's do it. And I was like, I mean, I guess. And then we started doing it.
When I want to do something, I do it.
And we did it. And
I think this year, this whole past year, I've realized I'm not going to just say I want to do something and just keep saying that. I decided that if I want to do something, to just go ahead and start. And if it continues, then great. If I'm at a halt, then it wasn't meant to be. And this project just kept going.
Oh my gosh, it has been a crazy couple of weeks. We basically were meeting at T-Spots whenever we could, because we both work. I'm still in school, so we're meeting there like 8 o'clock at night. T-Spots stays open until like midnight, so thank you, T-Spots. And we were just like brainstorming, like back and forth, trying to figure out what we wanted to do, and how we wanted to do it.
I'm a very avid podcast listener, so I was like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Yeah. And if we're gonna do it different than other people are doing.
I agree. When I used to interview bands back in high school, like I mentioned earlier, I really wanted to make the interviews. So this is kind of like how we want this podcast to run. Kind of our goals with this podcast is that I am very much a huge believer in having good conversations with people as best as I can. And I never liked the same boring interview questions, you know, what's your name? Where'd you form? How'd the band name? Like, that's great to know, but...
Tell us about the song. Tell us about the song.
Like, and I think the way in which you phrase a question also plays a huge role in how the question is answered. So I was very conscious of these questions I was asking bands when I was interviewing them, and I just kind of missed that feeling again. And so with this podcast, we definitely want to do the whole unmastered and uncut thing. Is we definitely really want to be as authentic as possible, create a forum and a space where we can talk to bands whom we think are very talented and deserve more credit, and kind of just have very unique conversations with them as opposed to the same old, boring questions, because I think that's not fun for the artist, and I don't think that's fun for the fans to read the same thing over and over again. So I definitely wanted to create this platform where we could be very different. So, I mean, is there anything you want to add onto that before we explain the name?
I don't think so. I just, at that point in my life, I kept saying to people, I don't want to just be a fan. I want to be your friend. And I feel like fans have that, there's like a disconnect between fans and their artists, because they only know what is presented to them in front of them. So the fact that we get to ask questions that are unconventional, and they get to know the personalities in depth of all the band members or artists themselves, and that's, I think, the most important part of this.
Definitely. I think it's showing a different side to the artist other than, the presence that they put forth. So it was a really great idea to just explore different aspects of these people that have this talent and that have a lot to say. So when we were coming up with the name for this podcast, we were trying to think what really encompasses that. So we were looking at music terms and trying to figure out what we wanted to do. And I think it was Gohar. I think Gohar and I were like she and I are on the same wavelength so much to where like
wow,
I'll be thinking
the same wavelength, huh?
Yeah.
It's another music term.
Yeah, it is another. It's actually like a hell of a frequency thing, and we're like I'm staring at the little wave, the sound waves on the screen right now.
It's great.
But she will be thinking something and I'll say it, and vice versa. Like, we're literally in each other's heads sometimes, which is crazy.
I think at one time you were about to say something and I interrupted you
to say
the thing.
Unmastered, and I was like, that is what I was saying before you interrupted me.
Yeah, and so we
were set on it.
Yeah,
and then, we looked up the difference between mastering versus mixing, and I recently learned that from a friend of mine. So it's kind of like with unmixed, it's when you're taking the songs and you're kind of taking all the different pieces and kind of finally mixing them together, and then when you master it, that's when you're fixing the pitch and the volume of everything. So I kind of like the idea of unmastered because it was saying you have something there, but it's not quite finished yet, and it's very raw and it's very organic and freeform, and still needs it's rough around the edges. And I very much liked that concept and wanted to run with that with this that whole...
way it doesn't feel like an interviewer interviewing an artist. It feels like a conversation, not only the way we're asking the questions, but also the way that we're presenting it to the public.
Exactly. And we also want to make sure that we're asking questions that aren't just the same cookie cutter questions. We want things to be funny, we want things to be fun, but we also want things to maybe get an artist's opinion on something other than just music. There's more to their life and their personality. They have opinions. We all have opinions. We're all human, and there's this other aspect of us that we really wanted to bring to the table. So that's kind of how Unmastered came about. And then when we came up with our little beginning motto, little slogan you heard from us earlier, which is uncut and on the record with your favorite bands, it's just basically that. We're on the record, we're having a conversation, it's uncut, we're trying to do as minimal editing as possible so that you can really just enjoy the words and the conversation that's coming.
And everything is just raw.
It really is.
I don't like that word, but it
is.
That's what it is.
That's just what it is. There's no... we can call it organic. I mean, freeform and organic are good synonyms for that.
I guess, yeah.
But that's just kind of what we wanted to do, is just be as minimal editing as possible. Keep it as it was when we heard it, so you can hear it the same way, and that we can present this content to you in a way that is just accurate to what we heard and to what you guys will eventually hear. So that's kind of where we're heading with it. We still have a lot to learn. We're going to be learning a lot as this journey continues and figuring this all out, but I think we're doing pretty well so far.
I think we're doing great also.
I think we've done a lot in these past few weeks that I didn't expect us to do when I first sent out that tweet. Like, Can you believe the entire course of my summer has been changed by taking off my shoes and tweeting things? Like, it's so freaking weird. But I guess that's where we're at now. And we've got some great people helping us. So thank you to Mary, who has definitely been helping us with her ideas.
You know what? Mary is really great with
social media.
Yeah, the things that she does with her image. She knows if she has an idea, she'll make it happen.
She'll run with it.
And so I'm very grateful because that's something that I don't have, like that aspect of a creative eye to make everything look aesthetically pleasing.
There we go.
That's what it is.
It's literally what it is. Shout out to Henry, who is going to be helping us with some awesome music for us. So shout out to Henry.
Mm-hmm.
And also thanks to Go Hard's parents for letting us come over and letting me come over. You live here.
Yeah.
Letting me
Thanks,
come
Mom
over.
and Dad.
Letting me come over and doing all of this work here. And I'm gonna give a shout out to my aunt for letting me crash at her place constantly when I'm too tired to drive
all the way
home. Gohar and I live actually kind of far from each other in terms of mileage, but also traffic in LA sucks.
It's the absolute worst.
So I spend upwards of 2 hours driving here sometimes, but it's okay. It's
what
totally
a great
worth
opportunity for you to listen to our old podcast.
You know what? I'm going to listen to the podcast we're making because it's going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you all listen to it as well.
I'm going to go ahead and plug our stuff now. Visit us on unmasteredpodcast.com.
Yes.
It's a fantastic website that we built up from the bottom. JK, it was very easy with Squarespace, actually. You know what? I went to school for web design.
I'm very grateful that Go Hard knows her stuff when it comes to media because I know very little about the cables that we have to run for this and some of the web design we have to do and platforms where we have to post things. So shout out to Go Hard for that.
You know
Thank
what
you.
is when I'm interested in something, I go all in. So a few years back, I was really interested in podcasts, so I learned everything about it.
Well, it was meant to be then.
I think so. So go on our website, unmasteredpodcast.com, and while you're there, maybe there's a link to our Patreon. Oh my god, if you want to contribute to us creating more of this content, we would really appreciate it if you were a patron of ours. It's only $5 for the entire month, and you get to listen to episodes early.
Yep. If you decide if you decide to be a patron of ours, you'll get kind of to basically hear our podcast before the rest of the world does. So it'll be really nice, kind of like an inside experience we have with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of an inside joke.
Yeah.
You'll know everything going on.
So for like everyone else is gonna be like, what are you talking about? And then you'll be like, oh, you don't know? You must not be a patron of Unmastered Podcast.
And we're also probably going to do, once we hit 50 patrons, we're going to do a little concert ticket giveaway. So if you love concerts or if you've never been to one and you want to go to one and you don't have the funds, we got you covered. And we're going to help support you and your concert endeavors while also supporting small independent artists.
Mm-hmm.
And so support us there and we'll help you get to that concert of yours.
You know what it is? It's legends supporting legends. That's
exactly.
What it is.
That's the vibe.
Follow us on our Instagram and our Twitter at unmasteredpod.
Yep. And
we want to chat with you. You know, I just want to talk.
We just want to talk. We just really want to interact with everyone. Have anyone interact with us. What bands do you want us to interview? You know, mention those. Send us links to some of your favorite music.
Send us links. We'll do a poll.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, if you have you had playlists that you want us to check out, we'll check those our way. We definitely are open to figuring out what kind of music you guys like, hopefully exposing you to some of the music that we like that's brand new for you guys.
Yeah, keep an eye on our Instagram also, because sometimes we post behind the scenes stuff.
by sometimes we mean all the time.
Every single time.
Every time. We post some behind the scenes content from the interviews that we've been doing. We also post very frequently, almost daily, the songs that we're currently listening to, and you can check those out on our Instagram as well. We post that to Twitter as well. We also have a Facebook up.
Do we, though?
I mean, we do, but, you know...
How really important is Facebook these days?
You know, we'll work on it, but we're definitely... Instagram and Twitter are the vibes as of late, so if you really want to interact with us, that's where we will be, and... Yeah.
Wow, I can't think of anything else to say.
I can't believe I talked for this much.
We were
literally thinking this would be 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
And it's almost been an hour.
Wow, we did that.
I'm almost concerned in myself for talking this much
We had so
into
much
a microphone.
To say, though. Oh,
And I feel like I didn't even say everything I wanted to say.
What? You didn't? I said everything I needed to say.
Oh, did you? I don't know.
I felt like this is my time to shine, you know? Because other times I'm, like, listening to other people.
I wanted to be respectful and let you talk too, but I also didn't know how long we were letting this thing go, so I was trying to keep it short and concise. Oops.
Whoopsie daisies.
Whoopsie daisies. But yeah, so our first interview actually, is going to be up.
Would that be episode 1 or episode 2? I think it's episode 2.
That's episode 2, but our first interview is going to be up next week. What we're going to try and do for you guys is make sure we're posting every Tuesday is the goal for us.
Mm-hmm.
Our first interview, do we want to say it or leave them in suspense?
I think what we're going to do is play maybe 10 seconds or 30 seconds of their song and have our audience try to figure that out.
That's exactly what we're going to do. All right. We're going to get 10 seconds of a song from the musicians that we will be interviewing next week, so you guys can guess.
Chasing that gold, neck frozen cold. Gucci, Fendi, Saint Laurent. Ain't no one know what I'm on. Too busy to...
So you just heard a little 10-second clip from who we're interviewing next week.
Can you guess who it is? Send us who you think it is on our Twitter. And
Instagram is cool too.
Yeah, and we'll tell you if you're right or wrong, or if you are right, we'll give you a little wink in your DMs.
We'll slide that wink right into your DMs. Thank you guys for listening. It's been great chatting here, and we hope you guys come back next week. We look forward to seeing you guys on the social media, interacting with us, and I think we're about there. Any last and final words, Gohar?
No, I have literally nothing to say. This was such a pleasure talking to you, Emma.
Thank you, Gohar. We talk a lot, but I feel like this has been a different kind of conversation and discussion that was actually very nice.
I feel like for as long as I've known you, we haven't talked about how we got into
We
music.
really haven't. We've just been go, like mind on getting work done. So we were actually able to sit down and do this, which has been fantastic. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're going to chat with y'all next week.
Yes, this has been Unmastered. We are uncut and on the record with your favorite bands, and we'll chat with you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.